And on the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God made a farmer. Farmer Jim here with another beautiful episode of Meet the Cape Cod Farmer. We're not meeting farmers today. We are at one of the probably the oldest farm in Dennis and Yarmouth. It's the Taylor Bray Farm. 1630s, folks, 1630s. That's 400 years ago in my adding. Agriculture was alive and well on Cape Cod. Hear that little donkey? We're on picturesque Cape Cod Bay. We're going to be doing a little interview with Tom Orton, who is a director here. We're going to talk about the history of the Taylor Bray Farm. We're going to talk about some of the animals that they have here at Taylor Bray Farm. They have chickens and donkeys and Navajo Churro sheep and Scottish Highlander cattle. Lots of nice stuff. 22 acres that's owned by the town of Yarmouth. It is preserved through the Taylor Bray Farm Association or Historical Association that is managed by them. They do a wonderful job. It's a hidden gem here on Cape Cod. So if anybody has never been here or hasn't been back, it's right off of 6A in Yarmouth by the Olivers. If you get to Olivers, you turn on Taylor Bray Road, follow it all the way to the end. There's beautiful structures and barns. There's old homes from the 17th century. Now that's old, 17th century. But I am the president of the Cape and Islands Farm Bureau. I'm James B. Knieriem. We are trying to bring to the general public on Cape Cod information, education, and highlights of people that are farmers or where farming's come from or people that use farm products. So when you're out on Cape Cod this summer and you're stopping at farm stands or you're going to farmers markets or your neighbor's gardening has a big garden, get fresh, buy local, stay local, get fresh with your local farmer, and for the most important thing of all, eat good, nutritious food. It may cost you a little more, but it's more healthy for you. We're going to break now, and we're going to bring Tom Orton in. Tom, you're a director here at the Taylor Bray Farm. Give us a little brief history of what goes on here and how you see this farm progressing. I know in the early 80s or late 80s it was taken over, and you guys have done a great job of revitalizing this spot.
Well, in the mid-80s, the town purchased the property to avoid development and to preserve it for historical and educational purposes. I'm part of the Preservation Association, and what we've done here through our own funding, no tax dollars.
Right.
We have replaced the farm buildings, we maintain the pastures, we've added irrigation, we've added the livestock. And I look at it as more of a postcard of what a farm could be. Mm-hmm. It's not a working farm. We don't pretend to be a working farm, but it's open to the public 7 days a week, dawn to dusk. People have birthday parties here. They can have weddings here. Mm-hmm. They can just come enjoy the day, listen to the donkeys, because they're squawking because I have treats.
Yeah, nice.
But basically it's to preserve the open space. And like you said in your intro, it's in the middle of Yarmouth Port.
Right.
It's unheard of to find this much space with a view of the marsh.
Right.
And it's quiet here.
Right. Now, you have this organization has a board of directors that everybody's a volunteer. Nobody's getting a big paycheck for managing this, and everybody has their own little tasks. What's your task?
I'm a member of the board, number one, and number two, I'm pretty much the donkey trainer.
Yeah.
I work with them almost every day from the time they were weanlings. They do pull a little cart. Mm-hmm. They have good manners.
Right.
They can come out in crowds and do meet and greets and pictures and all that stuff. I also sort of help with the chicken flock, and I do the goats, keeping the goats wormed and cleaned, and I also grow a pumpkin patch here. We sell the pumpkins at our fall festival.
Right. You have two festivals. You have the sheep festival in the spring, and you have the fall festival. That's the harvest festival. Why don't we give the audience a little update on when that is and when it's coming up and what's happening, if we can remember it.
Sure. Yeah. No, we can. It's October 13th, which is a Saturday, I think. And it's a 10 to 4 affair. We have hot dogs for sale. We'll have pumpkins and gourds. We'll have various activities for the kids. And it's just an all-day thing here.
Right. They do hay rides.
They do. Yeah.
They do hay rides. My daughter, she'll go on that hay rack all day long. You get nice hay rides out along the shoreline and everything else. And I know some of the people that do the hay rides, they kind of give a little history of what's going on here at the farm to the people that come and visit. Now, you do these festivals for one specific reason, and that reason is to raise funds to care for the animals.
Absolutely. Every penny we raise goes to the care of the animals and the maintenance of the buildings, but mostly the care of the animals, because it's a big feed bill, it's a big vet bill, so, and like I said, we don't really get any support, so the Preservation Association is the primary fundraiser for all this stuff. Right.
All right, we're back here again in front of the home on Taylor Bray Farm with Tom, and give us a brief little history of the home here. I know there was a home built in 1630 when they came here, but then something happened.
Well, the original house in 1630 that was built around then burned. So the new house was relocated to this house here, and some of the old timbers were used. I believe it was around 1720. Old timbers from the original house were used in this house, and we've traced those back, some of them to English sailing vessels. So, as usual, back then, nobody threw anything away.
Right. Now, last year, somebody hired an archaeologist to come out, and a bunch of volunteers came, and you did an archaeology dig here on the farm. What type of stuff did they find, and what was it they were looking for?
Well, they were originally looking for colonial artifacts. They did find one English penny from the, I believe, 1690s, which they thought might be quite valuable.
Nice.
They found a lot of stuff from the house, household things,
pieces of pottery.
And buttons and things like that.
Right.
Nothing, no buried humans.
Right. No bones.
No bones.
No ghosts in the closet.
No.
Now, it seems like you've been doing a lot of renovations.
Well,
and I mean, the last time I seen this, it was covered in a tarp,
Right. Well, this is through Community Preservation Act funding that this house is being remodeled. The outside is done. We've brought it back. It's not totally restored, but to look
up to code and as historically correct as it can be made.
Yeah, as much as we could.
Right.
Now the inside is still a blank canvas, but that's out to bid right now.
Right.
And eventually the inside will be finished off, and it will be a public building.
Okay.
Hopefully a small museum and possibly a classroom for use by townspeople.
Right. Now I know we have the Barnstable County Sheriff here, and they're erecting a tent. This beautiful piece of property is able to be used by the Yarmouth residents or the general public?
It's available to the public dawn to dusk, 7 days a week. There is no charge. We don't charge any money. We do accept donations.
Right. Now it looks like somebody's having a party or a picnic or a wedding reception or something, that's...
This one is the Barnstable County Master Gardener Association. It's our annual tomato tasting and picnic. So the Sheriff's Department is setting up a tent. Okay. So master gardeners from all over the county will be here tomorrow.
Nice.
We also have coming up a large wedding rehearsal dinner. We have kids' birthday parties. We have just parties.
Right. And it's a donation.
Right. Right.
If somebody's really looking to use this place, it has a value. I mean, they could make the donation goes back to the maintenance of the farm.
Yes, all donated funds go to the maintenance of the farm and feeding the animals.
Now, all these nice rock walls and gardens and everything else that you have going on here, those rock walls, have they been here forever, or?
I believe this one is one of the original ones that's been here for several hundred years at least. And the big structure over here is the original barn. Right. A very old barn.
Right.
Not original.
Well, it looks to be a couple hundred years old at least. It's old. It's old for you and I.
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful. Let's go down to the garden a little bit and just get some brief information on that, and then we'll go over to the animals. We're standing here at the community garden at the Taylor Bray Farm. And Tom, give us a little overview, because I mean, it looks beautiful. I mean, all the tomatoes got late blight, but other than that, it's been a hell of a year for farming, but it looks great.
Well, as you can see, each of these plots, it's divided into individual plots. Each is rented by a resident of the town of Yarmouth. There is usually a waiting list.
Yeah.
We provide rototilling, and we provide the water.
Yeah.
Other than that, what people plant, how they do it is their own business. We have a good manure pile here.
Right.
So that's available
Always
to all the
compost
gardeners.
and everything,
Yeah, it's composted. And we do, at the other end, there is a wheelchair accessible plot.
Oh, good.
It's a raised bed.
Right.
So that was put in a couple years ago.
Well, I mean, this is beautiful, and I would venture to say a lot of the residents of Yarmouth don't even know that this community garden is part of Taylor Bray Farm.
That's probably true.
You know, it appears to be, probably a little over 3/4 of an acre of gardens, all well maintained, nicely manicured. I mean, this is absolutely heaven. No wonder, the Taylors or the Brays stopped here when,
it's a nice spot. Yeah.
It's a nice spot. I bet you in the wintertime when the wind's really blowing, it can be...
It's very cold here in the winter, and
Right.
the wind off the bay is brutal.
Right.
But our animals are all adapted to it, and they
Right.
have good shelter.
Now, getting back to the animals, what type of animals do you stick with? A heritage breed period, of the period, or is it just farm animals?
Well, farm animals. We try to stick with heritage breeds, but that's not always possible. We have Navajo Churro sheep, which are an old American breed from the
Right.
Southwest. We have Scots Highland cattle, those animals were all donated. And we have a pair of miniature donkeys who are salmon nested. They're 5.5 years old.
Right.
They again were donated.
Right.
And we have a flock of chickens, some heritage breeds, some new breeds. We
Right.
sort of mix that up because we like the look.
Right.
So we have some, Polish cresteds, just more for decoration,
Right.
and different ones that lay different colored eggs.
Right. Well, I mean, there's not many places you can go for free on Cape Cod.
That's right.
That is as beautiful as this.
That's
Now,
right.
I mean, it's Cape Cod Bay out here, and Cape Cod Bay is probably one of the most picturesque places in the world, let alone, on Cape Cod. And, I mean, just to come and have a nice little picnic for grandmas and grandpas, bring your kids down where they can run. And
People do that quite frequently. We also have art groups that meet here and paint.
Right.
Some days you'll come down here and there'll be 10 or 20 easels set up with
Right.
people painting views of the marsh or painting the animals.
Right.
Last year I had an art class that was here for a week
Right.
every day.
Right.
So
Well, and the interesting thing about all of this is with domesticated animals and with livestock, there's really not any place for most people to take their dogs or a cat for a walk,
Right.
from May till September, because God forbid somebody think they might get bit or, they might poop
the
on
beaches,
the grass.
the beaches are closed.
The beaches are closed.
Yeah.
You're able to bring your dogs down here.
Absolutely, as long as they're on a leash.
Yep.
And many people walk their dogs. We have a couple professional dog walkers who bring 3 or 4 dogs every single day. There's a dirt road. There's some trails. You can get in the fields or in the woods. We do caution everybody about Lyme disease and
Right.
ticks.
But that's Cape wide. And
This
that's
is-
just
this is
common
everywhere.
sense. That's
Yeah.
common sense. So,
Yep.
I mean, I don't think we'll ever get rid of the ticks.
No, I don't think so.
Maybe we'll find a miracle drug not to get those things, but I don't think we'll ever get rid of ticks.
No, we won't. They'll survive the nuclear holocaust, the
Right.
ticks and the
Like-
cockroaches.
Right. Let's go over and take some snapshots of the animals, and we'll call this a day. We're standing here with Lynn McIntyre. She is one of the caretakers here at the farm. Lynn, talk to us about your experiences here, and why you and your husband are the caretakers.
Well, 20 years ago, we moved into the little cottage, which is across the street from the farm, and we've been here ever since, and we struck a deal with the town that we could do the outdoor of the farm, all the grounds work and everything, and it's been nice ever since. It's been a trip. Very interesting. A lot of different things happen on the farm. And in 2001, was it 2001, we took it over as a nonprofit corporation, the Taylor Bray Farm Preservation Association. And we put on 3 festivals a year and then some. We do some tours. This fall we're having a wedding rehearsal dinner on the farm, which is going to be very nice. And just there's something going all the time.
Right. Now, if they want to get a hold of anybody here, do you have a website or a phone number?
We have a website which is www.taylorbrayfarm.org, And there's phone numbers and emails listed right on the website if they want to get in touch with anybody. But the farm's open 365 days a year from dawn to dusk. And we very much tell people, bring your children. They love the animals, as you well know, having a farm. And just bring picnic lunches, take hikes, go out on the boardwalk, view the marsh. There's a lot to do here. And we encourage birthday parties. We've had one wedding here, which was cute because they set up hay bales for seats, and which was very nice. And it was a very nice, quiet, small wedding. But other than that, it's pretty quiet. Just a lot of people all the time.
Well, over the last 20 years, what can you tell us the changes have been?
Oh, a lot. Well, when we first moved here, there was a girl that lived in the farmhouse and with her family, and she took care of this side of the farm. And then she left, and another family came in, and he collected sheep, up to 40 of them, and then they deemed the house uninhabitable. So they couldn't live there any longer. And it's been a work in progress since then. And we've seen a lot of changes in the fact that as a group we've cleaned the farm up. We've put up new fencing, new pastures. We've gotten a wide assortment of animals for the people to see, and there are big pets. And pretty much just try to make it a nice place for families to visit.
Do you have any other long-range goals that are in the works, or is it we go year to year, or do we have
I
a
think
5-year plan?
pretty much year to year we just try to keep things copacetic, maintain what we have and improve what we have. If we need the buildings to be repaired or grounds stuff to be done. But as far as any more animals, I wanted to get a couple more goats, and I was told very firmly, no, we have enough.
Well.
But it's, and we do hay rides. My husband did an impromptu hay ride for a couple that was here, and it was the little boy's birthday, and he goes, oh, good, that deserves a hay ride. So he took them all out for a hay ride, which is, if we're here, we do things like that for people.
Well, let's talk about your little donkeys, your miniature donkeys. Tell us about them.
Well, they're salmon nester. They're 5.5 years old. They're very common crowds. Every time we have a festival, I bring them out. They go in the tents, even with bands playing. There's a lot of people like, the photo ops with the donkeys for their kids. They do pull a little cart, although they need more work with that. They're basically decorative, but they have very good manners. They're very, very easygoing guys. I have volunteers that come and walk them around the neighborhood a couple times a week, in the roads, and around cars and trucks. So they're pretty bomb-proof at this point in their lives. And they're big pets. They're spoiled, horribly spoiled, like most of the animals here.
Right. Well, and now you have Navajo Shiro sheep. There's the ram over there. What are Navajo Shiro? Aren't they? They're not a meat sheep. They're a wool.
They're a wool sheep, but their wool is very coarse. It's not really for clothing. It's
Rugs.
more for rugs. Some of it is suitable for clothing, depending on the animal. But they're a heritage breed from the Southwest, obviously, and not an overly big sheep.
Right.
But they were, again, donated to the farm as a group. And the ones we have now are a couple of the original ewes and some of their daughters. The daughters were all sired by this ram, Patch, who, for a ram, is pretty easygoing, for the most part.
Well, is there anything that you two would like to add to this that the community needs to know about the Taylor Bray Historical Preservation Farm here in Yarmouth Port? And I mean, this is history, folks. I mean, if anybody really wants to know, this was every farm 1620 had something to do with agriculture, pigs, chickens, and this is the way it was. So if you just for the next 30 seconds, 45 seconds, tell us what you really think Yarmouth Port people and residents of Cape Cod need to know about.
I think basically that it's a wonderful place to bring families and children to even see what a historical farm would look like. Although the buildings are new, the house is from the 1780s, I think. The barn is probably around 1800. The cottage across the street is about 1800. So it's an old place, and if it's like children could even sit there and imagine what it would have been like way back in 1639 and forward, the different changes that would have come on the farm. But it's not only the history, but they see how animals are. They see their demeanor, what they look like, and how they act, and so forth. It's just a nice place for families to come. Really nice place.
And it's free.
And it is free. There's no charge.
Although we do accept donations,
We
gratefully.
do accept donations
Now, do you have a
of any
membership? Do
size.
you have a membership?
Yes, we do. We have a membership for individuals, families. What else is on that?
There's a business membership.
Business membership, so forth, and it's all different prices. But we do have a membership form on the website, I believe, because right now we're in the process of rebuilding our website. So I don't know that it's all up there
Yeah,
yet.
the membership form is
It-
there.
it is there.
It's
Okay.
downloadable.
Yep.
And all that membership money, which is tax deductible, goes to support the animals.
Absolutely.
So we got to
Yep.
emphasize that.
Yep. And we're also on Facebook. Thanks to Tom, he got us on Facebook, and we have a couple hundred of friends on
About
Facebook now.
110
now. Which is
Well,
okay.
we're going to call it a day. Tom, I really appreciate you spending some time, and Lynn, as
Thank you.
usual. It's always nice. Now remember, October 13th, they're having their fall harvest festival here. You'll have a community tent where there'll be some people selling arts and crafts,
Oh, I would
and
think, yep.
and
Food.
food and hay rides,
rides.
pumpkin for
Absolutely.
sale, and
Old time games.
old time games.
Yep.
So that's October 13th. And for all the Cape Codders, this is your gem. Just because it's in Yarmouth does not necessarily mean that Yarmouth
Absolutely.
has
We
to
welcome
has to
everybody.
claim it. It just happened to be that somebody very smart 400 years ago landed here and turned it into a farm. And because of the smart people in Yarmouth, they preserved it. You know? Well, we're going to leave you with this note. I'm Farmer Jim. I'm the president of the Cape and Islands Farm Bureau. I also manage Miss Scarlett's Blue Ribbon Farm in Yarmouth Port, just down the street from Taylor Bray, with my wife Susan. If you guys are out this summer, go find a farmer. And when it's all said and done, make sure you get fresh with a local farmer. Thank you. And on the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God made a farmer.